the latest with the Warriors, which a lot hasn't changed, but we get more reports. Mark Spears was on the NBA Today yesterday and said that Al Horford was supposed to sign with the Warriors last week. Didn't happen, obviously. And now there's other teams that are in the mix. The Lakers, the Bucks, and the Hawks are still interested in the services of 39-year-old Al Horford. And Mark Stein actually went on with 95.7 The Game and reported that basically Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton will eventually sign with the Warriors. He also said that he expects, or he didn't expect, he said that maybe Bradley Beal will be in the mix, but we saw today that Bradley Beal agreed to a buyout with the Phoenix Suns finally, and he signed a 2-year deal with the LA Clippers. So your reaction, Steven, to basically the Warriors still waiting on Al Horford, maybe still being in the mix for DeAnthony Melton. I mean, all this really hinges on Jonathan Kuminga, as Shams Charania has said. Like, that's the part that sucks, is we're waiting on him. And the fact that Bradley Beal ended up with the Clippers instead of the Warriors, which I don't think is that big of a deal.
I'm like indifferent to it as far as the moves, but I just want Kuminga to make a decision already and kind of realize that you're leading a wild goose chase trying to get whatever contract you feel you deserve from another team, because it's going to take a lot for the Warriors to trade you. I wonder if they've had those conversations yet. The Al Horford thing, it's still the same. I'd like to have him on the team. He's a veteran. He's a pro. Does it catapult them into the top of the Western Conference? No. But actually, Ernie, too, I almost agree. There's so much smoke around it that like it feels like this is going to end where Horford's eventually going to go somewhere else. And then the Warriors Reddit is going to be going crazy, posting that meme of Mike Dunleavy getting kicked in the face when he was a player. So like it feels like that's where this is headed. The DeAnthony Melton thing, they were playing really well with him in the lineup. When he tore his ACL, that did feel like a tough blow. I know he's not a big name, but he seemed to fit with them in the first half of the season. I'm still wondering, man, this team was so damn good, like towards the end of the year. And I'm not trying to use this as an excuse, but because the Warriors haven't, but as I'm like reflecting, ever since they traded for Jimmy Butler, they were number one in defensive and offensive rating. And you just learned that Moses Moody was playing with essentially 4 fingers in his right hand because his thumb was hurt and he had to have surgery on it. And you kind of realize, oh, that's why there's the decline. Or Brandon Pajemski, he had to have surgery too. Both Jimmy Butler and Steph got hurt in the playoffs. Like I look at the season last year and I'm not like totally down on the Warriors with the roster is constructed. I'm just not. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's just me thinking just your positive opinions, man. But like they were one of the best teams in basketball, and it was a pretty big sample size until, they just kind of lost the war of attrition. And maybe that's an issue. What if this team does play a full season? What are they going to look like at the end? I get that. And when Steve Kerr mentions, when Steve Kerr says, in the playoffs, you need 3-point shooting and you also need injury luck. And it doesn't feel like this team is going to have that injury luck going into a postseason. Not when I see Draymond after every game wrapping himself in what looks like airplane pillows and ice on his knees, or, Steph Curry having to wear a butt pad for 2 weeks at every season, or, Jimmy Butler struggling with the tailbone and grimacing while he has a coffee shop opening in San Francisco. I don't know why I added that in there. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I just saw a team like Brandon Pajemski and Moses Moody declined. Yeah. There's no doubt, but I think injuries played a part in that.
100% they did. 100% they did.
I don't know. And so like, that's where I go back to the Kuminga thing where I didn't really care like when he returned, because it was if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of deal. Like I didn't think there was any urgency to just thrust him into the starting lineup.
No, of course not. But fans want him there because they think that he's better than he is. As far as what you were saying, I agree with you that the Warriors were a totally different team. But yeah, it was a small sample size. And I would like to see a full 82 games with how this older roster is going to be. And Brandon Pajemski, Moses Moody, they definitely struggled during the postseason, but injuries played a factor into that. I don't think those guys should be starters, though. I think that they are better off the bench to help that second unit. And I think the ideal starting lineup at this point, with all the rumors out there, should be Steph Curry, D'Anthony Melton, um, uh, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Al Horford as your starting five, and then you could bring Trace Jackson Davis and Moses Moody, Brandon Pajemski, and Jonathan Kuminga off the bench. We still don't know what's going on with GP2, by the way. He hasn't been signed back, and he hasn't been linked to any team right now. And what pisses me off is that all of this stuff, the Al Horford stuff, shouldn't be contingent on Kuminga, but the way that Shams Charania spoke about it today on Sirius XM Radio, it sounds like it is. So they're still waiting on Kuminga to make his decision, and it sounds like he doesn't have a lot of options. So I'm okay with Jonathan Kuminga taking his time when it comes to a decision, but at the same time, if that decision is holding up the Warriors on everything else they can do, then he needs to make a decision already. Like, that's where Mike Dunleavy needs to be like, Jonathan, this is what's on the table right now. We value you more than most teams out there right now, and we're not getting good compensation for you. And I guess that's where the report comes out, where he's willing to come back, but also with the intention of maybe going someplace else. And maybe he hasn't gotten assurances from Steve Kerr on what his role is going to be for this upcoming season, and maybe it's still very awkward right now, and that's why nothing's changed. But in order for the Warriors to do their business, they need to do something on Jonathan Kuminga already. So if they can get a deal done with Anthony Melton, I'm all for that. The Al Horford thing, at this point, beggars can't be choosers. So he's the best big man out there. Go get him. At the end of the day, I still don't think that changes much for you in the West. I think they could be a very competitive team. I don't think they're going to be at the cream of the crop when it comes to the West. I think the Clippers are a better team. And honestly, I don't blame Bradley Beal for going with the Clippers as opposed to the Warriors. They're a much younger team. Now, are there a lot of question marks with health with those guys too, because those guys are older and injury prone, and James Harden and Kawhi Leonard? Absolutely. But I think overall right now, the Clippers on paper are a better team than the Warriors. But I still think the Warriors could be a very competitive team. And also, I'm sure that he got paid more money with the Clippers because they can't offer him what he's looking for when they still don't know what the hell's going on with Jonathan Kuminga. So I say all this to say, right now it's a total clusterfuck with the Warriors when it comes to their offseason, because it's all contingent on one man,